Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from PocketNow.com, and in this video we're going to talk about the multi-touch capability of the HTC HD2. We're also going to talk about how the capacitive screen works in Windows Mobile, an operating system that wasn't designed for use with a capacitive screen. It was made for use with a stylus. So let's go through a few programs and sort of talk about the implementation of multi-touch and the capacitive screen. As mentioned in previous videos, the screen sensitivity is very high. It's definitely higher than the Touch Pro 2, not as high as the iPhone, which is okay. It still is very, very sensitive. So let's go into the Notes application. The real difference here is that the screen is made out of glass, so it has a very firm feel to it, which is much better than the squishy kind of feel that you get on a resistive touchscreen display. So let's go to New. We still have the capability to write on the screen, so I can say, hello. But because you're not using a stylus, because capacitive screens don't respond to a stylus, you can't be very precise in writing. So you don't have the capability now for handwriting recognition throughout the entire operating system. HTC has stripped this out, and it makes sense. But it's nice that you can still write on the screen in the Notes application and other programs if you're doing some artwork or some drafting or something like that. Let's go into another program that you probably know very well, File Explorer. Okay. And what's interesting is that everything just works, even though it was made for a resistive screen. So if we tap on this down arrow, we can switch between my device and Windows very easily, as if we had our finger was a stylus, so it works very well. A few modifications have been made. So the side scroll bar is now thinner. But what's kind of cool, and what HTC has done, is if you want to grab the scroll bar, it's kind of difficult because it's so small. But if you take your thumb and bring it to the side, you get this thumb-sized scroll bar that you can grab onto to go faster down the page, which is great if you have a really long screen like this. Instead of having to, do 10 flicks, you can just kind of tap and hold on the side, grab the little handle, and go all the way down to the bottom of the screen. So this works in all programs. Let's talk about the on-screen keyboards. So we're going to go into a new email message. Okay, so here we are in a new email message, and of course we get this great HTC on-screen keyboard, very familiar. It's from all of the other HTC devices, but it feels a lot better because you have more room to work with, and the sensitivity of the screen is so great that it's really easy to type. So of course we can have this landscape keyboard, or actually this is portrait, and we can flip over and we can bring up this larger landscape keyboard. Frankly, I prefer the portrait keyboard because this requires a lot of thumb travel. This will probably be good for people with large hands. Let me just show you a little test. Right now we're on T9, so still pretty good. And I spelled that wrong, but of course I like this keyboard better. This is a test. And of course it takes a little practice like any on-screen keyboard, but after some practice it feels quite good. By default there's haptic feedback, so you get a little bit of a buzz vibration when you use the keyboard. I turn that off to save a little bit on battery life, and I don't really find it necessary to have that vibration feedback. If we tap and hold on the keyboard options, we don't have that many choices. We have the phone keypad, which is sort of the T9 style, which is back. We thought that this may not be present on the HD2, so we can kind of do... Some people are really good at T9, so this would be good for them. We can tap and hold and go to sort of the compact QWERTY, which is a shirt-type keyboard that you would get on, say, BlackBerry Pearl. That may also save on finger travel a little bit. What we don't get is the transcriber, which is the option that lets you write on the screen and have it recognize your handwriting, because obviously this device doesn't use a stylus and you would need one to get that to work. So the on-screen keyboard options are fantastic. You can really type fast. I'd say it's as good as the on-screen keyboard on the iPhone, possibly better because it's larger and people with larger hands may really appreciate having that. So let's go through some other programs that you may be familiar with to see how they interact with the capacitive display. So I'm going to hit no, and let's go into Core Player, which is, of course, one of the best video players for Windows Mobile. It plays a variety of formats. Right now we are looking at an episode of The Office, but let me just show you what kind of the interface is like. So I am going through this interface as if I had a stylus, but I don't need a stylus because the screen knows where I'm tapping. It's very smart. And almost all of the time, I don't have to tap twice. When you get to a little small area on the screen, once in a while you have to tap twice to get it to recognize. And video quality is amazing. So this is a high-definition episode of The Office.
Michael and his jeans. He gets in them, and I'm not...
And the whole interface works well. Now, the pinch to zoom works in a lot of different applications, which is pretty great. So Adobe Reader or Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word, really the whole Microsoft Office suite works with Multitouch. I'll show you a few areas, and I'll put a whole list up on pocketnow.com of where they work. So if we're an Excel spreadsheet and we want to zoom out a little bit, we pinch. It does kind of a weird animation, but it's quite helpful to be able to do this. Typically, if you want to change the view and zoom out a little bit, you've got to go into View and Zoom and something like that. But now you can just pinch to zoom. It's much more easy to sort of navigate through an Excel spreadsheet. And then if we go into Word Mobile, you'll see that that will also work to adjust the text size. So go into This is a Test. And if I pinch to zoom, the text gets bigger. It zooms in, it magnifies. Really great. And we get the same functionality in Outlook Mobile. So let's get into that. Okay, so here we are in an email, and we can pinch to zoom to make the text bigger. It will reflow. This is really great if you're walking down the street, for example, and you want to have the text bigger so you can kind of keep the device a few feet away from your face. Then when you get back to the office, you want to see more on the screen at one time. You can zoom back out and have it be small once again. So very handy feature, and this works in all the messaging applications. Also, the pinch to zoom will work in Google Maps Mobile. So let's go to that. And by the way, there's a really interesting way that Google Maps Mobile interfaces with the digital compass, and we're going to talk about that in a future video. Okay, so here we are in Google Maps Mobile, and we can pinch to zoom, and it's very precise, which is great. And right now we're over Edge, so it's a little bit slow to re-render the screen, but it works a lot better, I think, than pressing the plus button on the bottom of the screen. This way you can pinpoint a specific area on the screen and sort of pinch right into zoom and to get there. So that was a look at the capacitive multi-touch capability of the HD2. If you have a lot of third-party apps that you use, you can rest assured that the capacitive screen, in almost all cases, works flawlessly, as if you were using a resistive touchscreen. The only times when you have some trouble is when you're trying to check off very small items. I'll give you an example. So let's go into the settings menu. We're going to go into the standard Windows Mobile settings, and let's go to Today. So for example, if you had a stylus, to tap on this button that says Items down here, it would be very easy. You'd be able to tap it, and it's very precise. But because you're using your finger, which is a little bit thicker, sometimes you may have to tap a few times to be a little bit more careful to get in that area. But it's well optimized beyond that to let you sort of tap along. So a lot more coming up on the HTC HD2. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see the videos as they occur. Pocket Now Video on YouTube. That's it for now.